me, Kiana, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title of this video, we are going to be doing my favorite reads of 2019. We have 13 books here. I do not know how I'm going to take this down. Thumbnail, this is in no particular order because I literally have it stacked all like here, but I will tell you at the end which one out of all these was my absolute favorite. So because of how many books this is, let's just jump into this video, okay? So the first book that I absolutely loved this month, I read this in the summer, was The Wicked Deep by Cher Earnshaw. This is basically like a hocus pocus book. It takes place in Sparrow, Oregon, and 300 years ago there was these Sparrow sisters. There are 3 of them that they came, and they were basically like portrayed as witches that they were drowned at the lake. They were the Swan sisters. And so now every year between, I believe it's June 1st to June 21st, the spirits of these 3 sisters come back and they inhabit 3 teenage girls in this town, and they basically drown teenage boys basically as their revenge for what has happened to them when they died. I absolutely love this book. I loved how it was written. I love how we get flashbacks to when the Swan sisters were alive and what made people believe that they were witches, how they died, and how now like there's this one person who can see who the Swan sisters are, and we found out why she could see them. I love this. This was a 5 out of 5 stars. All of these books that are here are 5 out of 5 stars, and that's why I love them. So, book number 2 of my favorite reads is Tyrant's Tome, book 4 in the Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. I absolutely love this book. This is the 4th book. We're now nearing the end. And you have to read it in the order of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, then the Heroes of Olympus, and then Trials of Apollo. This is basically now after what has happened in the Heroes of Olympus. Zeus blames Apollo for what happened with the war with Gaia. He should have seen it. You know, he's the god of prophecy. So he casts Apollo down on Earth as a human under the name Luster, and he has to go on these trials, these 5 trials, to get all of his oracles back so he can become a god. I love this concept. I love this one because we do get a lot of Apollo's backstory. We get introduced to so many of the old characters again, which I love because we do get that update of them. Love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. The 3rd book was a new book to me. I got this in my first ever Owl Crate, and that is 4 Dead Queens by Ashley Sloat, and this is basically a murder mystery. We follow, what was her name? This girl named Carly, and she basically is like a smuggler, kind of. And when she smuggles, like it's basically in this world that only queens can rule and their daughters, so no men can rule. And there's 4 different like parts of this world where based on what you are is where you go. So like technology, beauty, and so on and so forth. And this girl Carly indulged this basically microchip, and she sees the 4 queens being murdered. So now she goes to try to stop the 4 queens getting murdered, but when she's there, they're already alive, and she is seeing how the person is going to kill them. So now it's up to Carly to stop this. Absolutely love this book. This book messed me up so much when I read it because I didn't expect what happened to happen, if that makes sense. I don't want to spoil a lot for what this happened. This book is absolutely amazing. If you haven't read it, read it. I know she's coming out with another book either the middle or end of this year, but I did enjoy this a lot. I know a lot of people love this book, and this was a lot of people's like favorites, and I do plan on doing a reread very, very soon of this, but that was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuisitz, and this is of course, a gay romance, and we follow Alex Claremont Diaz. He's the son of the first female president, and while he's in England visiting, like, you know, the next King of England's wedding, he gets into a fight with Prince Henry of Wales, and they get into a fight that they knock over the wedding cake, and because of that now it's this PR mess that they have to fake that they're friends, and they end up actually falling in love with each other. This is absolutely amazing. This is adult because there are sex scenes in this, a lot of smutty, so fair warning for that, but I did absolutely enjoy this. This was a 5 out of 5 stars. I need to do a reread of this already because of how amazing it was. The next book I absolutely loved is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. And in this book, we follow a girl named Imani, and she is a teenage mother. She got pregnant when she was very, very young, and now she is in high school. She has a passion for cooking. She is Puerto Rican. She's half Puerto Rican, half Black. I love the representation of, you know, her Puerto Rican side. For those who don't know, I am Puerto Rican, but I absolutely love that. It was amazing. It portrayed her being a teenage mother very, very well, and what comes basically with you getting pregnant very early, and how she balances, you know, I want to date, I want to have a normal teenage life, but I also want to respect, you know, this is my daughter. I want to respect, this is my daughter. This is my daughter's father, and all of that. If you haven't read this, read this. I do want to read her first book. I believe it's The Poet X, because I do love her writing. But yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so book 6, almost halfway there, goes to Rebel by Marie Lu. This is book 4, and now the end of the Legend series. This takes place 10 years, I believe, after the ending of Champion, and we follow now Day and his brother Eden as they're now living in Antarctica and all of that world. And Eden is, I don't want to say jealous, but he hates the fact that people only know him as Day's younger brother. He hates how Day went from being like this vigilante to now like, I'm following the rules, I'm the cop, and all of that. So Eden goes to the Undercity, much like Day used to, and he gets trapped in there that basically Day has to call upon June, and they get back together like the days of, you know, the Legend original trilogy to save Eden before something happens. Absolutely love this. I can't believe, you know, that she wrote this, but I loved how it ended, because when she ended Champion, it felt like we needed more, and this is exactly what we needed. Absolutely love this. So book number 7 goes to A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is book 2 in the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I love this one above the first and the second book. To me personally, it doesn't suffer that middle book syndrome that a lot of trilogies suffer, because of the magical game that is in here, where we see a lot, where we're introduced more to the other worlds, you know, the gray, white, and black, what happened to Black London, who's still living in Black London, why, you know, the worlds were closed off. We get introduced to more people with power, and how people can actually wield two, and not just Antares who can wield all of them, which I did enjoy. But that was why this book was my favorite, because of the game that we had, how they all come together, how there is more worlds outside of the London because we're introduced to them. Oh, I just love this. Then we have Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. This is book 2 in the Dark Artemis trilogy, and let's just say this book made me sob towards the end. I did listen to this book on audiobook, but this is basically, I want to say like 5 to 7 years after the ending of the Mortal Instruments series, and we follow the Blackthorn Shadowhunter family while they are living in Los Angeles. So you do have to read the Mortal Instrument series before you read this, because you're not going to know what happened. And in this book, now we're getting more into the story of what the Black Volume is, who betrayed them, who this person is, more into the world of Fae, more into the Dark Court of Fae, and why the Fae world is actually split up with Seelie and Unseelie. It's just, you can't say a lot without spoiling this, because so much happens. I do remember when I finished reading this, I was at school, I was having lunch with one of my friends, and the ending killed me, that I literally sat there with tears in my eyes, and she's like, what happened? I'm just like, I don't know, like, I can't explain, like, you need to read this. Absolutely love this, and I do hope that we get a spin-off of certain characters in this, which I do believe we are, but she isn't releasing it just yet. Book number 9, guys. We're almost there. 3 more books. Well, 4 more books, because 1 book I don't own. I'm gonna go through the books I own first, and then I don't. So 9 and 10 go to Kingdom of Ash and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. Books 6 and 7 in the Throne of Glass series. As we all know, Tower of Dawn follows Chaol as he's trying to get the other royals to help them fight. We all know that Chaol is now paralyzed from the waist down. He can't move because of the fight that happened in Queen of Shadows. Yes, Queen of Shadows. And this book, I absolutely loved it. As you can see, I tabbed this more up than I tabbed up Kingdom of Ash. But this was just absolutely amazing. We got more of Chaol's perspective, why he did a lot of stuff that he did, why we all loved him, like why a lot of people went from loving him to hating him. This book was just amazing. And then, of course, we have Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book that broke my soul. So many of these quotes. For all of my Throne of Glass, I'll be leaving like the playlist of all of my individual reviews for them, because I did do an individual review for all of them. These books were just amazing. You know, we do follow the assassin Selena Salvadorian. In the first book, she is chosen as the king's assassin, basically to basically kill all his competitors and all of that. And we learned so much more of her, and I'm so sad that the series is done. And it took me so long. It took me a year to actually like finish out the series, because I read up to the third book, and then I just never continued on. And then every time I would do a reread, I would stop and never continue on. But I absolutely love this book, and I hope maybe in the future, in a couple years, she does a spin-off to some of the characters in here. So then we have books 11 and 12, which is The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing, both by Holly Black, book 2 and book 3 in the Heir of Folk trilogy. We are introduced in The Cruel Prince to Jude Durante, who is a human, and when she was 7 years old, her older half-sister, Vivian's father, Maddox, ended up coming to the human world, killed her mother and her father because, you know, her mother left and took Vivian and basically portrayed them as dead when she just ran off with another man. And because he killed her parents, he decided to take, you know, his daughter back along with her younger sisters, because he felt, I killed your parents, you know, now you're my responsibility, you have to come with me. So he takes them to the Fey world, where in the Fey world they absolutely despise humans. Altogether despise them. She meets a lot of the royalty and all of that, and this world is just absolutely amazing. Both of these books came out in 2019. The Queen of Nothing originally wasn't supposed to come out till 2020, but because of how many people loved what happened in The Wicked King, she decided to push it up and give it to us very, very soon, which I love. So if you haven't read this trilogy, you should. I do own the exclusive Barnes & Noble edition with the black covers, but yeah. And then the final book that I absolutely loved of 2019 goes to The Rose Society by Marie Lu. This is book 2 in the Young Elites trilogy, where this plague swept the nation, and those children who survived basically have this power, but they're hunted because they have these powers, because they shouldn't have it. It's not normal. And the Young Elites is formed of those who have these powers and is in hiding. This trilogy is absolutely amazing. It broke my soul, the last book, but the second book was my favorite of all. But yes, those are the 13 books that I absolutely loved in 2019. And can you guess which one was my favorite of them all? Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McInnes. I absolutely love this. I do plan on doing a reread maybe in January, because it is Valentine's Day and we need loving books and all of that. But yes, I'll be leaving here 2 videos I honestly feel you guys should go check out. I try my hardest now to post at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I'll be seeing you guys hopefully very, very soon with either a reading vlog or my least favorites of 2019. Bye, guys.